Commissioner Vano,
Here.
Commissioner Epperson,
Here.
Commissioner White,
Here.
Commissioner Meeks,
Here.
Commissioner Schmidt.
You. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Additions, changes to the agenda?
There are none tonight.
Okay. Citizens' comments on agenda, non-agenda items? Or non-agenda items, excuse me. There's nobody here. Consent agenda? Okay. I move to accept the recommendation of Administration and Finance Committee to approve the minutes of the special meeting held on October 2nd, 2019, the BENA hearing, and the board meeting held on October 16, 2019, and the financials, which includes the cash summary and revenue report dated October 31st, 2019, the invoice distribution report ending October 31st, 2019, in the amount of $132,167.06. Second. Any comments? Hearing none?
Commissioner Epperson,
Aye.
Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Meeks,
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt, Commissioner Vano.
Aye. Director's report.
Yeah, there's several events coming up before our next meeting. I just want to highlight, we have the Holidays Festival on Saturday, December 7th, from 3 to 5:30 at the Civic Center. Once again, we will have entertainment, kids' activities, crafts, visits with Santa, food and drink for sale, dog sled demo and tractor rides. And then after, from 5:45 to 6:30, we will be hosting the tree lighting ceremony. And part of that program includes a reading of essays from school children. And this year's theme is My Wish for Morton Grove Is. Details on that can be found online at mortongroveparks.com. Also on that day, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 1 p.m., the Farmers Market will be hosting its first Winter's Market, again at the Civic Center. So there are lots of activities throughout the holiday season, and I just encourage everyone to go online or look into their fall brochure, because everything is available. If they have any questions, they can call the registration desk, and I'll be able to answer those questions for them. That concludes my report.
Okay. Attorney's report?
You have your report by email earlier today, and aside from what was referenced there, I've been busy working with your finance department to get things ready for tonight.
Okay. Thank you. Village liaison report? No report. Department heads?
Marty?
Well, we're working on getting a lot of signatures so that we can start our issuing our bond. We're expecting to close it on November 22nd. And the reason we want to do that is we want to stack it so that we get the bond to close before we have to make the payment of December 1. It's not because of money purposes, it's more for tax and IRS and changing the tax legislation that requires you to make your payments within 90 days of when you issue a bond, as well as, and it helps if it's before the due date of a bond. That's about it.
And Sue, if you wanted to say.
Yep, so the winter spring brochure is at the printer, and resident registration starts December 2nd and non-resident December 9th. We've got 3 more events coming up this month. This Friday is my candlelight yoga in the dance studio at 7. Adult trivia night, our first time running this program. We've got 7 teams signed up for, that'll be a week from tomorrow. November 30th, I have another community blood drive going. And then December, Santa stocking delivery, a new event's already filled with 21 kids. And Silver Bell Express, we got 2 dates in December, those are almost filled as well. So there's only a handful of spots left open, so.
Yeah, so we've already talked about Laura, and he was out sick for the day. He wanted to come in, but it's like it's from where he's at, it's not working, so.
So does, he started to put the orbs up, we know.
Yes. Yep, they're getting ready, trying to get ahead of
The weather.
The weather, yeah, right. So, yeah, they'll be doing some construction of some smaller ones that we're gonna put out here.
In the front, Mike? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just kind of jazz it up a little bit. So we want to try to stay away from the memorial trees, so just everything on the
So
east
nobody
side of the.
complains.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Good idea. Okay, we have new business. We have summer camp presentation. Claire.
Yes, and Claire will give us a presentation of this year's camp.
All right. So the Morton Road Park District Summer Camp 2019 wrapped up in August. Overall, I was happy with the counselors and the activities that were provided for the campers this year. In this presentation, I'll go through staff numbers, registration numbers, comparison of budget from this year to last year, and then my recommendations for next year. So staff, overall we had 28 total staff for camp. That's one less than what we had last year. And then we had a staff retention rate of 62% from last year to this year. We were happy with that rate, and we're hoping to see a similar number in 2020. And then I'll go through each individual camp and their particular registration numbers, as well as just a little bit of info about them. So Kid Venture Camp is our preschool age camp. That's 3 to 4 years old. That camp goes from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. We have Monday through Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, Thursday options for that. Registration from 2018 to 2019 for Kid Venture Camp did go down, but we did see a jump in junior camp. So we're thinking that the kids from Kid Venture Camp aged out into junior camp. So junior camp is kindergartners to 2nd grade, so that's children going into kindergarten to children going into 2nd grade. That camp went from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., and we have the same day options as Kid Venture. And again, that registration did see a rise. And then Camp Morgrove is for children 3rd to 5th grade. That's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Same day options as the other two. That registration did go down from 2018 to 2019. We figured that's because the children for our first session a lot of them weren't out of school yet. So at the beginning of first session, a lot of them are still in school, so they didn't sign up for that first session. So our first session was lower in numbers than the rest of the sessions. So we did see a decrease in total numbers in Morgrove and Team Times as well. So Team Times is our 5th to 8th graders. That's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Monday through Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday options. And that, again, that total did go down as well. Rise and Shine and Extended are before and after care options. That's for anybody in junior camp, Morgrove, and Teen Times that needs extra time outside of that 9 to 3 that we offer for camp. Rise and Shine is 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and Extended is 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. We have Monday through Friday and Monday, Wednesday, Friday options. Our registration for those were pretty steady from 2018 to 2019. Rise and Shine was a little bit lower and Extended was a little bit higher. Camp S'more is our extra camps at the end of the summer. So after summer camp ends at the beginning of August, there's a couple weeks before school starts and some parents need that daycare. So we offer that for kindergartners to 8th graders, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and just the Monday, Wednesday, or the Monday through Friday option. Our total registration did go up from 2018 quite a bit this year. It filled up pretty fast, and then we had the staff and the space, so I upped the numbers, so we upped the max on that. So registration summary, some camps saw a drop and some camps saw an increase. Total did go down just a little bit. And then in 2019, we saw steady registration numbers throughout the summer since that first session. So that first session was a little bit lower. When we came up in the second session, we were pretty steady throughout the summer. So camp locations this year are on there. And then 2020, I'm recommending a bit of a revamp for a few different reasons. So Kid Venture is good in Mansfield. I would keep them there. The junior camp has outgrown Okido. They're probably too large for that space. So we want a bigger space for them. And then Morgrove and Teen Times, we'd like to move closer to Oriole so that they can walk to the pool next year when we don't have art. We put a request into Melzer School to use their space, and actually I just found out today that we got that request approved. So we will be finalizing the locations here now. And then Rise and Shine and Extended are here, and I would keep them here. That works, shuttling them to and from here. And then field trips this year, I tried to try new and different experiences for the kids, and then I took note of the places that worked with the places that worked, I would go again, and then there was definitely one place that didn't work, the kids didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't go again. So, in future years, we'll continue to bring back the old favorites as well as try new experiences to keep it as exciting and fun for the kids as possible. So budget comparison from 2018 to 2019. Revenue did go down about $10,000, but we kept that net income within $400. So we worked hard to keep the supply costs low and then to hold to our camper counselor ratio so that we could keep the salaries as low as possible. We took a survey of the parents at the end of the summer. Overall, they said they were happy with the counselors, impressed with the field trip options, but they did wish that junior camp would stay closer to the Morton Grove area. They'd like to see more structured activities. They're concerned that Okido is not large enough for junior camp, which at this point it's not. And then we would send weekly newsletters with pertinent information for the parents, such as where the kids were going to go on a field trip, any special projects that they were going to do that week, and then the weekly games. The parents said that the newsletters were a great tool, but they wish that they contained more specific information. So my recommendations for 2020 based on the survey results as well as what I observed over the summer would be to give the counselors more ideas for big group activities and more time to research those ideas. So we'll do that in training, we'll extend their planning time, and then we'll give them resources to research ideas for big group activities so that throughout the summer they can have ideas. Sometimes those big group activities can get a little repetitive. Some kids get bored, so keep it fresh. And then head counselor training should include instructions on how to do end of summer reviews for their counselors. We want that at the beginning of the summer so that the head counselors can think throughout the summers how exactly they want to review their counselors. And this year I did see they were a bit generous in their reviews. So we want them to be thinking a little bit more critically about each individual counselor and their strengths and weaknesses. And then keep field trips for junior camp closer to the Morton Grove area. We'll relocate junior camp to Morton Grove team times, again, because junior camp is at Roanoke and Morton Grove team times, we like it closer to Oregon. And then we'll improve upon newsletters, adding in a schedule of activities. And we'll talk about that at head counselor training as well, how exactly we want to do those, and then to add in a schedule of activities so that the parents can see what their kids are doing in camp on a day-to-day basis. Are there any questions?
Great job, Claire. Yeah, good job. Thank
Very
you.
good, Claire. She wants to stay, but I told her she has to go, right?
Yeah.
Okay, set the tax levy public hearing date for December 18th, 2019.
Right, so we have prepared a tentative 2019 property tax levy detailing the amount of taxes that we're going to collect in 2020. And it is estimated to increase by 3.96 over last year. We just need to set the date of December 18th, 2019, set at 6:30 for that tax levy public hearing.
I move that the Morton Grove Park District sets the date for the tax levy public hearing for December 18th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m.
Second.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Meeks?
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Aye.
Commissioner Romero?
Aye.
Commissioner Emerson?
Aye.
Set the date for the budget appropriations ordinance for December 18th, 2019.
Right, so we must hold at least one public hearing before the final action can be taken on the 2020 budget and appropriation ordinance. So that's why we have to move up this meeting to give us the 30 days before December 18th. We'll make sure that it's publicly available here at the library, online, so that anybody that can get a copy or wants to view it before that, they may do so. And then just December 18th for the public hearing.
I move that the Morton Grove Park District sets the date for the budget appropriations public hearing for December 18th, 2019.
Second.
Any comments? Hearing none?
Commissioner Meeks?
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Aye.
Commissioner Romero?
Aye.
Commissioner Everson?
Aye.
Commissioner White?
Aye. Approve an ordinance providing for the issuing of $946,900 general obligation.
Sorry, I have displaced my spot. So last month, we had the BINA hearing. That was a hearing for us to issue bonds, the rollover bonds, so that we may fund capital expenditures. This is just the ordinance approving the sale of those bonds to Wintrust Bank.
I move that the Morton Grove Park District approves the bond ordinance 0-03/19.
Second.
Any commissioners have any comments? Hearing none?
Commissioner Schmidt?
Aye.
Commissioner Randall?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Meeks?
Aye. Investment policy update.
Right, so the state of Illinois has recently adopted a new statute called the Illinois Sustainable Investing Act. And because of that, we are required to put in the wording, material relevant and decision useful sustainability factors have been or are regularly considered by the agency within the bounds of financial and fiduciary prudence in evaluating investment decisions. So in the backup to this, on page 2 is that sentence in there for the revision to the investment policy.
I move that the Morton Grove Park District approve the revised investment policy.
Second.
Commissioners have any comments? Hearing none?
Commissioner Randall?
Aye.
Commissioner Everson?
Aye.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Meeks?
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Aye.
Passenger van purchase.
Right, the current 2006 Ford van that we use for transporting patrons, may it be seniors or youth, preschool children all throughout the village, is up for replacement. And what we did was we went to the state of Illinois. They do a state bid, and in there is the 2020 Ford T350 Transit 15 passenger wagon that was awarded to Landmark, right, out of Springfield. And it would, some slight additions in there that we feel are important safety features, and then we're not expected to exceed $31,000 for that purchase. Now, I should state that we're not going to get rid of the 2006 van until we figure out how we're going to be transporting kids back and forth this summer, so we may keep it for a while.
I move that the Morton Grove Park District Park Board approves the purchase of the 2020 Ford T350 Transit 15 passenger van for the estimated delivery amount of $31,000. Second. Commissioners have any comments? No. Hearing none?
Commissioner Everson?
Aye.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Meeks?
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Aye.
Commissioner Randall?
Aye.
Approve the 2020 board calendar.
Right, so every public body has to give public notice for their meetings before the beginning of the calendar or fiscal year. Since we are on a calendar, we're going to need to just set the dates, the times, the places for those meetings. And on the backup to that memo, you can see the dates. We have checked that against calendars for religious holidays and other holidays, and found no conflicts. So those would be our meeting dates.
I move that the Morton Grove Park Board approve the 2020 board meeting calendar for the staff to then post and publicize the calendar pursuant to the Park District Code. Need a second?
Second.
Commissioners have any comments?
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Meeks?
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Aye.
Commissioner Randall?
Aye.
Commissioner Everson?
Aye.
Okay, 2020 referendum ordinance.
Right. In order to put a question on the ballot for March 17, 2020, we have to adopt an ordinance with the wording before we can submit that to the county for inclusion on the ballot. So we worked with Steve and Chapman and Cutler to prepare the ordinance. Everything is in order. They've changed certain things in there because this is a rate increase, not a bond issuance. There's a little bit more information that needs to be included in that, but everything was checked out by bond counsel as well as Steve. Steve, if you have anything else that you'd like to add to that.
The only thing I would add is I want to make sure that the board is aware of how large this question is when it's on the ballot. And I mean, I can just show you graphically from the ordinance that's in your packet. You know, this is the question, okay? And then the resident will choose yes or no on this side, and then the 3 paragraphs that are below are also on the ballot. So this is the state's attempt to inform the public before they make a decision on the ballot question. And the information that is below the question relates to how much money we would be receiving when we extend for taxes at the current limiting rate, how much it's going to be when we extend if the proposition is approved in total dollars. So that's $2,300,000 up to $3,100,000. The second paragraph says for a property containing a single-family residence and having a fair market value of $100,000, the impact is $30.57 per year. And then it talks about, the last paragraph just says that the extension will be determined by the limiting rate set forth in the proposition rather than the otherwise applicable limiting rate under the tax cap law if the proposition is approved. So those are the 3 things the voters will be confronted with when they're in the ballot box or when they're in the voting booth. The point I was going to make is those paragraphs are all required by statute. So the language that you see there, as miserable as it might appear to be to us, is actually mandated by state law. And at least it gives the public some information about you know, what's going on here. So happy to answer any questions anybody might have about that.
Yeah, I'd also like to add, we had talked about making sure that that for our pool, for the park district, was at the beginning of the question, so that they, you know, that caught their attention. Because of the way that this is designed a very specific way via statute, Steve and Chapman Cutler said it's probably not a good idea to adjust that. You could do it, however, you take a risk in somebody objecting to the way the question is formed because it doesn't meet the exact way the statute is written. So we, rather than take that risk, we kept it the way the statute is written.
Unfortunately. So once the board acts on the ordinance tonight, if it's approved, we get it signed, it'll be filed with the county clerk, and that is then, when it's filed, we also direct the clerk to publish a notice in the community and elsewhere, notifying the public of the question, and that notice also includes the form of the question. So to the extent that you're out and about trying to educate the community about what's going on, this question will be you know, out in the public for, you know, a considerable period of time before the actual election takes place. So,
When does this get filed?
as soon as we have it approved.
Okay.
I mean, I would recommend that we do it right away.
Right
The
away?
deadline is in December.
Okay.
But, so we're way ahead of schedule. We're like 30 days ahead right now.
I move that the Morton Grove Park Board approves ordinance 0-05-19, an ordinance providing for the requirement to submit the submission of the proposed of increasing the limiting rate of the Morton Grove Park District, Cook County, Illinois, to the voters of the said park district at the general primary election to be held on the 17th day of March 2020.
Second.
Commissioners, any comments? Hearing none?
Commissioner Meeks,
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Aye.
Commissioner Romero,
Aye.
Commissioner Epperson,
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye. Public comments on non-agenda items? Nothing? Do we have a resident?
That's right.
Commissioners' comments. Commissioner Schmidt. Really? Too quiet. Commissioner White.
Just want to wish Laura Key a speedy recovery after her surgery. Thank you to Sue for stepping into the extra duties, and we're confident you're the best person for taking this over. Thanks to the maintenance staff for the cleaning and the fitness club and everyone that helped. Congrats to Mary Mucci for the CPRF certification. It's always nice that someone steps up to take the certification. Thanks to the staff for on the well-balanced budget and all your extra work on that. And of course, Marty on the year-end festivities and taxes and all that. And thank you to Commissioner Minks and Jeff for your presentation in Springfield. It was very well received. So,
3 minutes of fame.
3 minutes of fame, that's right.
Commissioner Romero.
No comment.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Commissioner
excuse
Epperson,
me.
sorry.
I wasn't sure if I was still here. Just want to say that excited about the Morton Arboretum grant. I think that was good work on Keith and everyone else. My family had a lot of good things to say about the Halloween Fest. Lots of good things for a long time. And then trivia night. Really excited for Thursday. Good. I will see you there.
Okay, myself. I'd like to thank you, Sue, for stepping up. And I'd like to wish Laura a speedy recovery also. And I think it went very well when Jeff and I went down to Springfield. I think that was a smart move of bringing me along. Because the one thing I noticed was about 12 people on that board, something like that. There was a few people that smiled when he introduced me, and the people that presented in front of us, they were just staff. We only saw about 4 or 5 in front of us, but I thought that was a smart move, Jeff. And I wish our board luck on getting that. I do.
Yeah.
And that's the end of my comments. Okay. Do we have a?
I move to accept the recommendation of the Administration and Finance Committee to, or we're going to go into closed session.
Yeah.
Second.
Pursuant to 2C21, right?
We have personnel.
Oh, okay, 2C1 and 2C21, sorry.
Did I get a second?
Well, wait, did we finish?
I don't have the wording.
It's on the front page.
Oh, it's on the agenda.
It's on
I make a motion for the board to go into closed session in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, Section 122C1, and for Section 120/2C21.
Second. Commissioner Schmidt,
Aye.
Commissioner Romero, Commissioner Epperson,
Aye.
Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Meeks.
Aye.
7, 4, 5.
Yeah, you
I was waiting for you.